You don't like sports? Seriously? If you've ever heard that question with a look of astonishment, you're not alone. We live in a society that treats loving sports as something mandatory, as if it were part of the human package. But what if I told you that not liking sports reveals something much deeper about who you are? Today, we're going to dive into the psychology of people who simply don't connect with the sports world. And pay attention, this has nothing to do with being boring. In fact, the explanation is surprising. First, let's understand what happens when someone loves sports. Psychologically speaking, sports activate our primitive tribal instinct. It's about belonging, about being part of something bigger. When someone roots for a team, the brain releases the same neurotransmitters as when we are in a social group. So why don't some people feel this? The answer lies in the way they process their identity. People who don't like sports don't build their identity through external groups. They don't need a team to feel like they belong to something. Instead, they find belonging in individual connections, with interests they consider more authentic to who they are. It's not that they are lonely, it's that they are selective about where they invest their energy. Now, let's move to the second crucial point. People who don't like sports have a specific psychological trait. They seek direct meaning in their activities. Sports, by nature, are indirect entertainment. You are investing emotion in something that has no real impact on your life. It's not that these people are more rational or superior. In fact, they simply have difficulty disconnecting from the need for a tangible purpose. While other people can relax watching a game without commitment, these minds are constantly asking, "What's the point of this for me?" They prefer to spend time learning or creating something. Pleasure for the sake of pleasure without a practical result doesn't satisfy them in the same way. Third psychological factor: low tolerance for randomness and unpredictability. Sports are essentially controlled chaos. You have no control whatsoever over the outcome. Your team can lose because of a silly mistake, luck, or a questionable decision by the referee. For many people, this is exciting, but for those who don't like sports, this lack of control is frustrating. Studies show that people with a high need for control and predictability tend to avoid situations in which they are passive spectators of random outcomes. They prefer activities where effort has a direct correlation with the result. Not surprisingly, many of these people stand out in areas such as programming, music, writing, or any field where personal skill defines success. On the other hand, there are also those who simply can't emotionally care about something that doesn't affect their reality. And finally, the fourth element, the issue of forced social rituals. Let's be honest, much of the love for sports is social. It's about going to the bar with friends, having a common topic, and being part of conversations. For introverts or people with limited social energy, sports can feel like an obligation disguised as leisure. It's not that they are antisocial, it's that they prefer deeper and less performative social interactions. Spending 3 hours yelling in a stadium or commenting on every play of a game simply doesn't recharge their batteries. In fact, it does the opposite. So, not liking sports is not about being different or boring, it's about how your brain processes identity, meaning, control, and social connection. If you're one of these people, congratulations, you know yourself well enough not to fake interest just to fit in. Now tell me, do you like sports? Tell me here in the comments. And if you liked the video, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any content. See you in the next video.